HiRevz Media is sponsored by Born to Ride Motorcycle Magazine. Check out borntoride.com. Alright guys, another thing we got done on here is the 50 model Pontiac lights that look awesome. Those look way better than the ugly LEDs that this thing does not need. Look at that. This looks so much better, so much cleaner. And, you know, back to the, late 60s hot rod, a lot of 50s and 60s hot rods actually use these. You see these all over them, and nothing unique about this, but they look perfect. They just look really, really good. So that is awesome. So there we got everything working out nice. So Daddy actually went through and opened up the hole a little bit to make these fit because the LEDs were almost flat. These have a little bit of a depth to them because they actually have real filaments in them. So that's kind of nice. Kind of sticks out a little bit. Looks really, really good. All right, guys, we ran it a few times over the winter, but this is the first time it's been kind of warm. Went in through some 60s in there now, so now it's got 60s in all the idles. And I'm going to check it out. I think that's going to be about right. So I need to bring it down just a little bit. I think we were a little too rich on it. So, but same procedure as the last video we made on it. But it's still doing good. Like I said, we ran it a few times, so everything's been good. But haven't really got to drive it any. Still looks good though. Right, guys, it already feels good to be back in this thing. So it does. Slow takeoff feels pretty good. Yep. That was it. 60s are perfect. I can go right there. Just a tiny, this thing's so lightweight that the tiniest bit of throttle gives you plenty to cruise at. But at that cruising spot, it was a little bit grumpy. And I figured it was probably a little too fat on those other idles. And now, this seems about right. And it seemed a little too lean on the original idles. So, I think this is gonna be perfect now. This is, God, this thing's such a beast. This thing's kind of scary to be driving again. But yeah, that's perfect right there. Oh man, we've got this thing working pretty dang good. Look at this thing's got great brakes on it. But yeah, right there. You're never gonna get perfect, but I can roll straight up from no throttle at all, slowly resting my foot on it to slowly going in all the way into the main jets right there, which is not very far. It's about a third of a pedal, and that feels pretty good. So this is exactly what it needed, and now it feels right. It doesn't feel grumpy at all. It's amazing. IDFs, these HPMXs and everything, when smooth, when they're working right like this, it feels almost like fuel injection. I mean, it feels that smooth, and it is. It's 8 individual runners. And if you haven't checked out our book yet, make sure you get the IDF carburetors book on Amazon. We go through all the carburetors and everything on this, on the Fiat, the Volkswagens that we've done. IDF carburetors are awesome. I mean, we really love them. Greg and I have really fallen in love with them over and over again. Every time we put them on something, it's like, oh my God, it's so cool. It sounds so good. I mean, the Fiat sounds like a Ferrari V8. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It sounds really cool. This thing sounds amazing. I mean, it literally sounds like a GT40 or something, right at the intake. I mean, it sounds so good. So I am loving this though. Let's see what it does from a stop here. Whoa! Woo! Man, I couldn't even go full throttle. Woo! Oh man, this thing, the front end gets super light with this thing. The tires grip in, especially with nice dry tires and dry pavement. tires grip in, the front end gets a little light. But right then, it didn't like choke, you know, try to take off. It just took it and went, which is exactly what we want right there. God, this is so good. This thing is not a good cornering car though. This old school front end, not made for that. God, these IDFs, so good. That's exactly what we needed. This thing will pull you out of a curve though. More of a straight line drag car, not a cornering car, but it does all right. It does all right. Golly, I really need two hands on the wheel. Woo. Let's see. All right, let's check it out. Here we go. Calm her down now, calm her down now. Wow. That was 0 to 80. Real quick. Kilometers. I mean, man, that's exactly what it needs. To not choke dead and actually do right. This thing feels good. Feels real good. It actually, you know, and grumpy hot rods, I like grumpy hot rods too. You know, grumpy hot rods are fun. But it sure is nice to be an old school hot rod like this and to have it run out this well. Woo! Yes! All right, guys, just got her back in the shop and played around with it a little bit, got on pretty hard, and look at the tires. You can tell it wrinkled the tires. It caught and grabbed pretty dang hard. You can see the marks all around through there where it just wrinkled them in as it pulled forward. That's pretty awesome looking, actually.